Welcome back to the Vanguard Athletics Podcast Network. You have joined us today for Stories of Significance, an opportunity for us to talk to current student athletes here at Vanguard University. And before we jump into a conversation I was able to have with Christian Nowtash from our men's volleyball team, I've got Jeff Melton with me as always. And Jeff, we had a pretty crazy week last week. Why don't you go ahead and talk through what happened and where we're at right now.
Yeah, so spring and winter seasons have collided officially. So we had that nice restful break over Christmas, and then it's kind of all getting started back up here. So last week, golf was out in Arizona at the Ottawa University of Arizona Spring Invitational. So both the men's and women's teams were out there, getting their feet wet back in the spring semester on a pretty tough course out there. Against some high-level competition. Then last week we had baseball hosted Whittier College here on campus. Got the dub by 5 runs here. The D team finished up their season playing Cal Lutheran. So their home season, they'll have one more road game. Softball got their first wins of the year. So Amber Freeman got her first collegiate win. So
big ups to her.
Yeah, big shout-outs to Coach Freeman there. She got the sweep out at Marymount, and then special night on Thursday. The Lions in the pit here. San Diego Christian College visited us. Probably the highlight of the week for most people around here was Russ Davis's long-awaited return to the sideline after beating cancer. So that was a really special day. Friday, baseball went on the road. Tough defeat against the University of Redlands. Men's volleyball went to Arizona this weekend, got 2 sweeps, made pretty easy, had an easy time against the competition out there. 3-0, 3-0, got a bunch of guys in the games, using that depth that Coach Ross Stratter has accomplished here. Then as we moved, it's now February 1st, track and field season officially starts.
Yep.
They head up to Santa Barbara for the On Your Marks meet at Westmont. Amanda Chan, the reigning national champion, qualified to defend her title on the first out. Can't do much better than that.
No.
Dorothy Jackson, freshman for the program here, won 2 events, as well as D'Anthony McGowan. He won the men's 60-meter dash, which is crazy when you know the speed of our sprinters.
Oh, yeah.
So for him to go out there and beat some of our returners is pretty awesome on that. Maddie Parr, she PR'd in the 3,000-meter, which is a long way to run. I don't know the last time I've run 3,000 total meters, let alone with someone timing me. And then the 4x400 relay on the women's side, which had Jackson Chan, Anna Flores, and Bethany Hinson, kind of cruised to a victory there. So, and then a bunch of other top 10 finishes, Olivia Poland, Felicity Zachary, Lexi Naranjo. On the men's side, Jeremiah Lewis, Milton Woodson, Yanai McCon, and all took home victories there at the Invitational there. On campus, man, I'm running out of breath just talking about this.
Keep going.
On campus, softball had their home openers, and so they made pretty easy work of Chapman University there. And we're done. That was last week.
And then women's basketball.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Women's basketball.
90-point win.
Yeah. Just won by 90, so no big deal.
Yeah.
Their Saturday afternoon game. Kind of forgot about that one because I was out at the softball field.
Yeah.
Michael was inside taking care of that one. So that was last week.
Woo. All right. Well, jumping into this week for everyone who's interested, as you know, we're on our break, and now we just hop right back into it. And so coming up this week, we have our men's and women's golf programs. Actually, both of them. They're out at Providence Christian College right now, and they're planning a tournament out there.
Up on Magic Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, the conditions up there are pretty gnarly right now.
So. Yeah, started with frost this morning, and now it's super windy, so we'll see how it goes. But they're out there today, Monday, and tomorrow, which is Tuesday. And then we've also got a few more things. We have a little bit of a break, and then it actually gets pretty crazy this week. Baseball will be playing Baker University. They've got Baker coming in from the Midwest. Women's basketball goes out to Arizona. Men's basketball goes out to Arizona, play Arizona Christian. And they will also play out against Ottawa University. And then on Friday, softball starts what is probably the premier NAIA tournament in the country outside of the national tournament.
Sure.
Yeah, and so they'll be playing some top-ranked teams. That's actually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They actually will have the privilege of playing the number 1 team in the country, Southern Oregon University. But they'll also play Embry-Riddle. They will play La Sierra. They're going to be playing Corbin University. They play Marymount University, St. Catherine. So they're going to be playing a lot of games, basically. And then on Friday as well, we've got Benedictine University at Mesa coming into the house for both baseball and men's volleyball. So
I wonder
that's
if they're traveling together. That'd be
I
interesting.
know. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So they will be playing, baseball team will be playing, and then men's volleyball both playing at home. Men's volleyball, that's actually the defending national champion. It's going to be a roar game for us, so it's going to be a big game for us here on Friday. And then Saturday, we've got a lot going on. Stunt's going to be out at Concordia University, as well as playing against Riverside Community College. Indoor track and field has another meet that they'll be attending. Already mentioned women's basketball, men's basketball. We do have baseball still in town, and mentioned softball as well. And then men's volleyball is out at UC San Diego, Division I institution down in San Diego. And then Sunday, more softball, as well as stunt. They will be playing against UC Davis and Arizona State. So all that to say, we've got a lot going on here, and we apologize for any of you who are kind of eagerly anticipating any stories of significance here, talking with our student athletes, but we were able to get one of our men's volleyball players here, Christian Nowtash, and I was able to hop into a conversation with him. And, you know what, we've been talking a lot, so without further ado, I think we're just going to jump into that conversation that I was able to have with Christian Nowtash from the men's volleyball program.
Before we go,
Welcome back here to the podcast studio on Stories of Significance on the Vanguard Athletics Podcast Network. Today I've got men's volleyball player Christian Nowtash, and we just figured out how to say his name here with us in the studio. Christian, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Stoked to be here.
Yeah, good. Glad to have you in our studio today as an office. So it's we're shifting all over the place. So we're just hanging out here, and Christian, you know what? I know for you, you're someone who's transferred in from Concordia University, but a lot of people may not know a little bit about you. So go us a little about yourself, where you're from, major, what you play, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So grew up going to high school over in San Diego, going to Classical Academy.
That's a small school, right?
Yeah, pretty small school, little charter school. Really enjoyed it. It was almost like everyone called it like a little Christian school, even though it wasn't. That's kind of where I found the game of volleyball over there. Actually my freshman year, I went to Calvary Chapel, which was like this little Christian school in Vista.
Oh, yeah.
And ended up shutting down. Just randomly. That was right when I moved out here from Arizona. So started my freshman year at that little school. That was the first year they created a volleyball team that year for men's. And Bridget Salas was my first volleyball coach, and I just had no idea what I was doing, but loved it. Yeah, it was so cool. And then that school ended up shutting down, and then ended up over at Classical. Yeah. Okay,
nice. And then club ball, where did you play club? Any?
Let's see. So I started off at Genuine Volleyball Club over in San Marcos. That was, I want to say my sophomore junior year.
Okay.
Not the highest level of volleyball. Just kind of wanted to take that next step,
All right, just kind of testing the waters, right?
Yeah, just seeing what this game was all about. Was always a basketball player, but then had a couple knee surgeries. And realized that just couldn't really keep up with how much running it was. It was bugging my knee, so I was like, okay, I want to try something new. And that's what brought me over to volleyball. But played for Genuine, and then high school level we started to get a little better for my school at Classical, and then was I want to take club to the next level. And I remember it was a crazy time. I remember money was super tight, just $50, asking my mom for $50. We were in a weird time. And it was $50 to go try out for Coast, which is this big club over in kind of towards La Jolla, South San Diego. And she ended up giving me that $50, and it's crazy what that led to. Ended up at that tryout, there was probably 200 or 300 guys at this trial, and I was don't know anything really about volleyball at this time. I knew I'm a middle, so I knew how to hit a one ball, and I knew how to kind of block, and so I was let's see where this goes. And we ended up doing hitting lines, and in the first 15 minutes, I remember they pulled me into the office, and I'm sitting at this big table with coaches all around the table, and I'm sitting on the end what did I do wrong? Why am I in this office? And they ended up asking me if I wanted to be on the 18s travel team, which was a big deal for me at that time. It was so crazy even here to be a part of that team. And I was honestly I financially there's no way I can't spend we don't have a few $1,000s.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Give out, and they were willing to cover everything. yeah, and I just remember being like, wow, like this actually, they were like, we'll cover everything and almost like guaranteeing like you're going to be able to go to college to play if you stick with us. And I remember just like, that's where it like really hit me, was being in that office. Like, wow, like I want to be doing this. Like, and really just like my passion for volleyball like grew from that day. And like my mentality like going forward was like, I want to work at this. Like I want to get to where they're saying I can get to. So
yeah,
super cool.
No, that's awesome. So would you say that Coast is kind of, you had coaches in high school that kind of got you maybe in love with the sport, but Coast was really what elevated your game to get to the level where you could play at the highest level. And that's in college, right?
Some like amazing coaches over there. Yeah, it was so cool. Like I just love like they broke it down each week. Like we'd have like our middle training, we'd have like outsides on one court, just like the capability of having like a coach on like 3 guys like for the beginning of practice. Just like they poured so much into me. Yeah, definitely like it was at Coast that like made me realize and like definitely got me so much to like that get to that next level.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And then you're a sophomore here at Vanguard. What are you majoring in?
I am business admin.
Business admin. All right. Nice. Awesome. And then I know for you, it's kind of a, you ended up at Vanguard as a transfer from another 4-year university at Concordia. What is that process like for you? I guess, how did you end up at Vanguard? We started the program here. How did you hear about Brad? And tell us what that process was like.
Yeah. Concordia was awesome. Concordia is definitely what made me into who I am today. Like it was not the easiest process, but just, kind of battling there. I just realized it wasn't really the right fit for me. And, I didn't know if it was volleyball, didn't know if it was school, kind of just like had a strange year. Like, and then kind of just going into my exit meeting, the coaches knew like I still wanted to keep playing volleyball, just kind of just battling with just a lot going on in my life. And, as soon as I came out of that exit meeting, it was crazy. On my walk back to the dorm, Brad called me and we had like a 2-hour long talk, and I was like, wow, like I don't want to give up on volleyball. Like I want to, everything in me was like, take another step, like go at it one more time. And I'm so glad I did, because I wouldn't be here today. But yeah, it's crazy how it pretty much, as soon as that door closed at Concordia, it was just like an open door for Vanguard, just like, and so many like little signs that were like telling me Vanguard was the way to go.
That's awesome. And then for you, kind of being able to be the part of the inaugural team, right? Like the founders of a program. What's it been like for you? What's it been like to kind of set the culture, set the tone under Brad's leadership? Yeah. How's that been, and how have you embraced that?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I was just telling my dad the other day, like I had no idea that like culture and like chemistry within a team, how much that meant like on the court. Like just like growing up, like not really having this idea of like, it's cool that each person can have their skill, and it's like, okay, like if everyone's good at the sport, like you'll end up winning games. But it's like, I've seen on teams, like that's not the way, that's not how it goes. Like, just being with Brad and like the way it was all so natural, like the way all of us guys got along. I just remember like the first couple of days of school, just like us all playing spike ball, like just like the way we all clicked and like just like formed like such a tight knit like community. And then like the way we all came together, and then the way we branched out to like the rest of the school was just like the coolest process. But yeah, like I never knew how it was such a big deal, and like now being a part of it and like having our first few games, like just having that like level of like communication and like trust that we have with each other on the court, like it's seriously like so special. Like there's no, can't really put it into words. Like it's just so cool, like to have the group of guys that we have, and like the like little family that we have grown is just so rad. Yeah,
no, it's been awesome seeing you guys on campus and just throughout the community. And I think that shows in your home games, like your guys' first home game against St. Catherine.
Yeah,
it was wild, right?
It's
and,
so crazy.
And then even the other night when you guys played Concordia, that was a special game for you, I'm sure. But even then, like it was like we don't usually get crowds on nights like Saturday nights,
crazy.
And we got a crazy crowd that night, right?
Yeah.
It's so cool how the community, because you guys have given back, how they've given back to you guys, right?
So cool.
So touching on that, what has Vanguard been like just as a school for you in this community, and maybe what are some things that you're looking forward to just building on throughout the rest of the semester?
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool to see like all the relationships that our team's like already built, but just to like keep that going, like it's so cool. Just like the more and more people you can meet, I feel like Brad's really ingrained in us. Like it's so easy to just like hold back and just like live your own life, but to like when people are walking through the gym, to like you're going to go meet them no matter what. And just like kind of pushing you out of your comfort zone has really led to us, like, I feel like building those connections. Because like if we're all sweaty and like practicing as hard as we can and someone walks through the gym, like going to meet them, like I feel like that's almost pushing you way farther than like you're walking around campus and then like meeting someone. Like it just makes it so much easier, like when you're pushed out of your comfort zone. So just like building those connections, I feel like is going to be something like really setting you up for the long run, like outside of Vanguard, like moving forward, like our lives outside of school, like to be able to just meet and like build those connections. I feel like it's what's going to be so important down the road. So just meeting as many people as you can and just like loving on the people around you.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, that's good. I think a lot of times student athletes, and you've been part of teams before, and myself, I'm included in that, just old, washed up, retired. But a lot of times you just hang out with your team and you just don't think about anyone else. But realize that there are so many incredible kids at the school who are going to do incredible things too, right? And it's like, man, like you have so many people who are going to do incredible things once they finish at Vanguard. Why not try and get to know them here? So like, you can hit them up later on and just create genuine friendships with them, right? And so
cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. So maybe give us a little feedback about yourself. What's something a lot of people may not know about you?
I have type 1 diabetes that I've been like, it's definitely like crazy, like figuring out different ways, like even having like a new schedule, like figuring out different ways on like how to, everything I do is all got to be planned out, like eating before practices. When we had those 6 a.m.s, it was making sure I'm eating at like 6:37 and like loading up on protein so that in the morning, like my blood sugar would be stable. And like, so yeah, like everything I do, I got to kind of plan out. And when I don't, I pay the consequence for that. And I either am like dropping low during practice or like shooting high, or it's just my whole life is like just balancing it out, and like makes me like plan other things in my life. Like everything's got to be planned out. And I feel like that's when it all like comes together. But if you're just doing things on the fly, like it all comes crashing down. So yeah, definitely I struggled with it over at Concordia, and this year just like, I don't know, just feel like I have a better grasp on it. Just love the support that I'm having, just knowing Brad's watching out for me. Like I feel like I've been handling it super well this year, and I just love that I'm able to still play college volleyball with this disease that people will call it. But cool.
I mean, how's that been for you, growing up, and then even playing like high school club and all that? How was that for you, like to manage and to even explain to, sometimes high school kids, even junior high, like they don't know any better. Like, oh, what's that? That's a funny word,
like,
right?
Like, why aren't you overweight? Like, why do you have diabetes?
Right.
Yeah.
So like, what has that been like for you? And, maybe have you been able to like talk to other people like or even younger kids who like have worked through that? And what's that process been like for you? How's that kind of shaped you as a person today?
It's definitely been like, I was diagnosed when I was, I want to say 13, and wasn't really playing volleyball at that time, but still sports were like, I remember like sitting in the hospital bed and was like, am I still going to be able to be like all the other kids? Like, am I going to still be able to play sports? And like, just, I don't know. Yeah, it hit me hard, but like, I feel like my mindset even then and still now, like, I don't know, just always looking forward to the future and like looking forward to like how I can overcome it and never getting like bogged down by it. But yeah, it's so cool, like to like meet people. Like I know there's a guy over who plays for Stanford, and the way he's been going about it. So it's just cool to like hear about different stories of people who have type 1 diabetes, and like seeing people with like patches and stuff. Like I don't know, it always like draws me to them to like start a conversation, like see like different ways they're going about it, or like. Do you do Gatorade or do you do like glucose tablets before you play? Just like just random like dumb,
it's like instant
community,
things. Right?
Yeah. So it's super cool. Definitely starts a conversation when people like the beginning of the season I had it on my arm, and like other athletes would be walking through the gym and are like, what the heck's on your arm? Like, are you a robot? But it's cool. It definitely like starts a conversation. But yeah, it's been cool to see like it definitely makes you stronger when you have to overcome something as hard as having diabetes. When you get to the end, or when you get a win, like realizing that like all the prep that I did behind that game, like it almost makes you feel so much better about achieving like your goals and stuff. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's really good, and kind of have transitioning into kind of the competitive aspect of it.
this season, you've been working through that. You guys have been working on creating culture. You guys have been doing so much. I feel like there's been a lot of, I wouldn't say adversity yet, but there's been a lot of like injuries and just a lot of different things going on. How do you think that's prepared you guys for the season, like in the fall, like that fall season? The cool thing about men's volleyball is it's a spring sport, so you kind of have the whole semester to bond together and get to know each other. How's that prepared you for this spring, and how do you feel about the season so far?
Yeah, I'm stoked. Like, just coming off of that shoulder surgery, I was pretty much out the whole fall, but coming back and like really pushing through that, I feel like everyone's so driven. Like, even Caleb just went down this last one of our last games with his ankle, and just to see him, like, it's cool because he came to me and I was just like, it's so hard to like easily get like bogged down by it and just be like kind of just like depressed, but it's like such a bummer to be like a starting player and then to like get an injury and realize like you gotta be able to cheer on the sideline. Like, it's just like such a weird thing, and like to be able to like be there for him in a way and be like, just let it like drive you, like let injuries like build up to like make you work harder at the recovery. Like the recovery, like it should have been like a 6-month recovery for my shoulder, and I was able to somehow be back on the court in like 3.5 months. And so it's just like my mindset of like, I'm gonna get my back stronger to be able to support my shoulder. Just let it like drive you, and like to see like Ale come off the bench and like be ready to go. Like, everyone has each other's back, so it's just so cool to know like you can work your hardest, and if something does happen, that there's going to be a guy on your like that has your back and ready to go. So it's so cool. Yeah, it's just I feel like injuries are such a way to push you to be stronger afterwards, and I don't look at it as a negative thing. Like, I know Caleb's going to be fired up and ready to go when he comes back, and we're all ready for that. So I don't know, it's just so cool to have like support and like realize that like when you go down, like not the whole world isn't over. Like, you're going to be able to get through it, and to have Brad supporting you through it, like, so cool. Yeah, love the culture.
That's good. And so as you guys jump into the season, you're kind of getting in the thick of it. You've had your first conference win and program. There's a lot of firsts this year. First really conference win, program history. You guys go out to Arizona and you play a couple schools out there. Ottawa, Arizona being one of them. ACU, Arizona Christian. Throughout the season, though, it's a long season. Right at the beginning, what are kind of goals for you guys as a group and maybe you as an individual?
Yeah. A goal of mine is obviously to be in that championship game and just be ready to compete, like, with my guys. Like, I think it's just taking it one game at a time, though, and just, like, I feel like my mindset, my goal is taking each game at a time. I feel like I obviously think of, like, that championship game, and that's kind of what drives me, but it's just being prepared for each game. It's just good guys competing together, and it gets me fired up. It's just taking it one step at a time, and just sticking together. Like, we needed when we took a loss at Concordia, me and Kyle's big goal was like, as much as like we would have loved to beat Concordia, and like that's obviously our goal by senior year, and we talk about it all the time. Like, we're gonna beat you, Concordia, by senior year. But just to take a set off them, like, meant that's what we even talked about before. We're like, if we can do everything we can to take a set off Concordia, like, that's the goal, and to even achieve that, but then also learn how to lose. Like, that was our first loss, and so, like, I feel like in the locker room after the match, like, us winning a game almost looked the same as us losing against Concordia. Like, just that we were all still holding our heads up, and the way we went about it was just so special. So it's like learning how to lose, and then just still being good people coming off of a loss and still sticking together. So that's been really cool to see. But just one game at a time, and just getting better in practice every day.
Cool. So it sounds like you guys, goal wise, it's like you're not going to set any long term goals, just practicing day by day, almost that
getting better.
That 1% better every day, right?
Sure,
You've heard that, right? And so
definitely.
Well, cool. What as we kind of finish up and get going here, what's God been challenging you with kind of in this season of your life, or this chapter of your life? Not necessarily volleyball, could be volleyball related, but what do you think that God's been kind of speaking to you about and challenging you through?
It's been really cool. I feel like last semester, I feel like I was going through the motions of like being an athlete, being a student, and I just feel like there was like this thing missing, and like and it's been really cool. Like, the whole spiritual side of Vanguard, I feel like I've been getting so much out of it personally, but I was like, I need to be doing more to give. It's almost selfish just be taking it for yourself and just not being able to give. And so it's been really cool. Me and my buddy Bryce Thompson, our setter, we were able to hear this opportunity. There's this new church starting up in Tustin called Legacy, and got in touch with the pastor. And it's been so cool because it started with like a team of like 15 people, and now we have like I think like 40 something on our staff, and just this small little middle school in Tustin. And we each week we take a moving truck and we move everything in and set up church, and it's just been so cool to just see like the community over there grow, and to be a part of like starting a church. Like I never thought during college, during this time in my life, I'd be able to start a church. Like so crazy to even say that. But yeah, just like the aspect of my life, like I just want to be able to serve and like give up more of my time instead of just taking it for myself. And it's been so cool. Me and Bryce are in charge of like the parking lot, so we'll be setting up signs each week, every Sunday morning, getting up early.
I think I saw a video of that once.
Yeah. We had Brad come in one time. Just it's so cool to just see like the community growing over there. But I'm loving it. Just trying to give up more of my time and not taking it all for myself.
That's awesome. That's really good. And sometimes when you give back, it's more life-giving than anything else, right? And so
true.
Yeah. Looking towards the future, you still have got, I guess 2.5 years left here.
Yeah.
What are your plans after graduation? Majoring in business. Yeah. It could be an I don't know. You don't have to know, but what have kind of been your ideas that you've been throwing around, or like a dream of yours even?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of been on the back of my mind. Like it'd be so cool to play volleyball overseas after school.
Totally pursue it, right?
Take a couple of years, just like travel the world and like just keep playing volleyball.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that means that a lot of that's like on my body. Like, am I going to be able to?
Yeah.
So that's definitely been in the back of my head. But I don't know. Yeah, something in the business world. I just been buying and selling cars, and that's kind of what's got me to being here today. Like, that's been like my only like source of income. So I don't know. Something in the business world. It doesn't. I'm kind of like moving past cars and ready to move on to something else. But I don't know. I wish I knew, but wish I had some crazy goal to tell you.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Yeah, just ready to get my degree and ready to get going. But
yeah,
just enjoying the time.
It's a good dream to just look to pursue professionally too, right? I tell students all the time, if you have an opportunity to play, go play. You only get that experience once in your life, basically. Even if it's at a low level, you're getting paid $10,000, $15,000 a year. Go out fun.
So right, definitely thinking about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, hopefully your body holds up.
Yeah, I know.
You're able to get there. So we got a couple years left. Well, cool, Christian. Thanks so much, man, for joining us. Kind of any final little nuggets of wisdom from you, or anything that you want to kind of add? Even about the program as you guys are stepping forward.
No, don't got anything. It's an honor to be here, though. Honor to represent men's volleyball. I'm really excited for this year, and just to see how far we could grow this team with a couple years here. But yeah, so excited. So crazy to think about, like, just all the years to come and then being able to be a part of the first team. So just honored to be here.
Good,
honored
man.
For this time, yeah.
Love it. Well, honored to have you here. Glad you're here on campus, man. For those of you who don't know Christian, you should go get to know him. World-class individual here. So
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Christian. And hopefully we'll see you on the volleyball court the next couple of years and beating some teams and hopefully win some championships. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Thanks, man.
Wow, that was an awesome conversation you had there with Christian, Mike. Sorry for a little bit of the audio issues you guys heard there, but got it straightened out for Mike and I joining you guys right now. Mike, you sat down with it. I just had the pleasure of being in the room, but what was your biggest takeaway with your conversation with Christian?
Yeah, Christian, I love Christian. He's one of those guys who just has such a positive and just infectious attitude. Like, he comes in and he's just like the nicest guy in the world. But he's got a crazy story, and I think you heard kind of about his battle, not just through injuries this year, but having type 1 diabetes, and something that he's had to work through, and that's kind of given him a lot of great perspective, and he's been able to fight through that adversity. And overall, he's just been such a leader, even though he's just a sophomore, a leader for this program, a leader for the campus and the athletics program, I'd even say as well. But super excited to have him on board, and I think that he's going to be making an impact not just on the court, because he's obviously a phenomenal athlete, but off the court as well. And so just really a pleasure to talk with him throughout that conversation.
That's awesome. So we thank you guys for joining us for our first official Stories of Significance here of the 2020 calendar year. I can't believe January is finally over. I
It's
mean,
here.
it felt like it was 6 months long, but we're now officially in crossover season. It's one of the most exciting times of the year when we get this time in the spring. So we thank you guys for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe here, whether you're finding us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store. And for those of you that are viewing us via video on YouTube and Facebook videos, we guys are so glad that you guys joined us. And we will see you guys next Tuesday here on Stories of Significance here on the Vanguard Athletics Podcast Network.